Victor, we're back.
We're
Tangy
back.
Talks.
We are back.
It's been too
I like
long.
these, man. It's
I
too
know, me
long,
too.
right?
Been 1 month, I feel like, maybe a little longer. We come up with excuses of why we can't be on the show and do Tangy Talks, but we always miss it when we can't. But we've had a lot going on, actually.
Yeah, no, it's always fun to. I know we're usually doing it every week. Now we're kind of extending it to every month, but I feel like we get like a month recap, right? And it's good for us to also, right, what to kind of go about everything that's gone on. So, yeah, man, these are enjoyable. Always have fun doing them with you.
Yeah, we've had a
And
lot going on. So I don't even remember the dates anymore, but we went to go visit our friend Ben Wolf at his properties in Onera at Fredericksburg and Wimberley, which was awesome. We got to stay for just one night, but it was a great experience to be hanging out with them. And
yeah,
we put out a little video on YouTube as well, so you can check that. Maybe we'll get on the Tangy channel as well. But it was fun. What did you think when you got to see everything?
I loved it, man. I think you could probably tell in my face and my energy. I was like a new kid in a candy store because I was just so impressed. It was so different, right? I've never stayed. I've stayed in resorts, hotels, Airbnbs in the past, but kind of like a glamping, secluded out, kind of in the middle of the lowlands with beautiful grounds. I've never done that before, so I was impressed. First, obviously, because of the architecture, the layout, the whole feel and the vibe of it, and like all the details involved in it. And then it was just relaxing. Right, we
Yep.
got to
Yeah.
enjoy the hot tub. We got to enjoy some sauna action. We saw some deers. Like, still keep talking about it, right? We've never seen deers, and my
Yeah.
wife grew up in Georgia and would see them all the time. But we saw 10 deers, and we
You're
were
like, oh my God, look at this wildlife. Like we're on safari in Africa. And so for listeners, I want to give you set the stage. Like we talked about Onera. If you haven't checked it out, check out the website stayonera.com. It's Ben Wolf. He's going to be our partner in our new project, Baya, which we're having down here in South Florida. And we use the word glamping, but I really think it's a resort. It's a hotel. Like if you really think
basically
about what we're building and what he's built, because it's not like they have like some soft sided tents, like you can see like safari tents, but really it's
right.
like ultra luxe tree houses and like cool units of all different kind, like very artistic. And it's in the Texas Hill Country. So, sad we won't touch on it too much, but hearts breaks for everyone that passed away in the Texas Hill Country. We were there the day it started raining. We were there that Tuesday of July 2nd,
Yeah.
right? July 1st. Forget what day we were there. So is that whatever that Tuesday was? It was 2 days before July 4th. We were there Tuesday,
Right.
Wednesday. It started pouring rain Wednesday when we were in Austin, Texas. And we even asked that question. And Ben's like, yeah, there's flash floods every once in a while. And who knew a
Yeah.
day later that would happen?
It was a little eerie. Yeah, I woke up. I think you shooted me. You sent me a text on like Saturday morning, like, "Hey man, have you seen the news?" And I looked on, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And like you see the pictures and the videos and everything, obviously, that went on. It was just so heartbreaking. And just to think, right, we were about to book the day after. So our intentions was to come back on Friday, so
Yep.
book Thursday and Friday. So we ended up Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday to Fridays when all of that kind of happens. So it's just crazy. Left kind of in the nick of time, and it's just really really sad.
Yeah.
And I believe Ben and his resort and everything
All
was
good.
fine. Right?
Yeah. He has two different places there. So he has one in Fredericksburg, which is a lovely town. We could talk about the positives. I didn't know what to expect, but I really liked Fredericksburg. Really good hospitality there, great
Really nice
cafes and
place.
hotel. And Wemberley, we drove through pretty quick, but we had some great barbecue when we were there. And we had a fun 36 hours in Texas, which was a lot of fun. But I feel like we learned some things. I'll share what I learned from visiting there, just in about Baya. What do you feel like you learned about
You
when
know
you?
what I learned specifically in landscape resort, and we'll use
I like that landscape.
that term instead of a glamping landscape resort is necessarily because right we're thinking we're coming from a resort, right, we're coming from here Miami, that we're thinking about entertainment, we're thinking about, all right, if the guests don't want to hang out outdoors, what are we going to offer them while they're here, and then being there and kind of feeling the vibe and seeing that it's really about kind of taking that step back, right? Not guest doesn't necessarily need in your face music all the time, or the resort and the beach vibe and the pool. Sometimes it's nice to kind of have things really quiet, right? We were walking around and things were quiet. Dust was coming in and you could hear all the kind of the wildlife and everything. So that kind of took me back because I'm used to that, right? We're used to that from resorts, where not necessarily guests need full on entertainment 24/7. So that was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool because it's like a hybrid. It really is a hybrid of the vacation rental model that we've been running for the
Right.
last 6 years now and
Eight,
longer.
7 years. Yep.
So it's really a hybrid because when you do a vacation rental, you're self-sufficient. Like like, all right, you expect to have they say a house that has a lot of good amenities, that has
Right.
all the things there, it's clean and it's ready for you, right? And
Yeah.
maybe some nice small touches like free snacks and things that we all add. And it's kind of that, like you check in, and if you do need something, you're texting and getting people, but then you do have some of those communal spaces like the hot tubs and the pools and things like that. But one
Exactly.
thing that I didn't know how I felt about was no TVs in the room, right? There's
It's
no
true.
TVs. And so, we're so used to like, oh, you're in a hotel, you flip on a TV. This has really made you like stop, think a little bit, look at nature a little bit more, look out that window, go for a walk instead of being in the room, you know. And so
Yeah.
I had thought about that for our project at Baya with no TVs, and now I'm more into it, right? Like I think if you want to watch something, you got your phone, like you can use your
Exactly.
phone and go on
Exactly.
there, your tablet, but like I think it's like a point, like yeah, there is no TV in this room because we want you to reconnect and take it a little easier and think and meditate or play a game with your
Exactly.
kids or whatever it might be. I think
Exactly.
that is actually pretty unique.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll have to do that at Baya too. No TVs in the
No
rooms.
TVs.
Maybe in a cafe or something. But I think for the most part, I think you make it about nature and the landscape and
I think so
reconnecting.
too. Yeah, I think so too. And that was kind of, I mean, you just feel it, right? I mean, we're here in Miami. You step outside and you hear cars and noise and planes. It's just so busy, busy, busy. And then you're just, in the low countries of Texas and everything is just so quiet, so still. So I thought that
Hill
was,
country.
kind of, yeah, what you said is so different, right? And I think it kind of regrouped us to remind ourselves, kind of that's the point, right? That's exactly what we're going for, right? Because I know we've chatted on the back end, like, all right, let's have an activities event coordinator, and what are we going to offer? What are we going to do? Let's entertain. Let's food. So those are all great ideas, and I'm sure those are all going to have its place. But it was nice to just come in and then just everything quiet and still. So that
Yeah.
was really cool. So I'm with you on the TV also. I for once I sleep with the TV on. I put on the sleep timer. It's a bad habit, but it's just like that white noise in
White
the
noise.
background. So to me, with the no TV, I was like, oh my god, what do I do? But it
Felt
was
weird.
good.
And you
It
went, that's
felt weird a little bit,
felt
but it
weird
was
for
good.
you. Yeah.
It
Because
was good.
usually I don't sleep. Like I'll turn off TV as want to go to sleep or something. But you can doom scroll on your phone as much as you want till you pass out as you want to.
Doom
So
scroll.
but I did like you feel that reconnect. It's almost like when I go on a cruise and sometimes you don't use the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi is expensive. Like sometimes when I go on like that 5 or week cruise and I don't use Wi-Fi, like the first day you're like, oh my god, what's happening out there in the world? And then by like day 3, you're like, oh, I don't want my phone on
Yeah,
me. Like
this is good.
get this off
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I'm with
So
you. Yeah,
anyhow, I
I
think
get that as well.
that's actually a great amenity is to reconnect. And and talking about, I got to send this to you of Airbnbs. There's a big YouTuber in my household that we watch. This guy Ryan Trahan,
Okay.
and shout out to Ryan Trahan. He's a big YouTuber out there. He's doing 50 states in 50 days, staying in 50 Airbnbs. So he has to stay one night in each state and stay in an Airbnb. And there's like all these challenges and stuff. And he's raising money for St. Jude,
Very
and
cool.
he wanted to get to 1 million. And he was like, now he's at 7 million raised because so many people are watching. Like we donated, but what was cool is he's staying at all different kinds of Airbnbs, and it's really
Right.
unique for like my point of view, and for you, I think you would like watching it because he does a quick tour of each home, and there's some that are like, wow, that's a cool amenity, like we should add that, or
I love
these
it. I
homes are
have to
like
check it
super
out.
unique. Like you could see they spend so much time on making it unique, like a World War II airplane that's up in a tree that you can stay in, but then like the inside looks terrible and it's not comfy, and so like then it's not that nice, right? Even though it could have been something really cool. So it's like really unique. So if you're listening to this, you can check out Ryan Trahan. I'll send you the video. I just like
Yeah,
him
definitely
as a
want to check it out.
YouTuber, and he's just fun to watch. And he's kind of just a happy-go-lucky personality. So it's him and his wife. They're in their 20s traveling, but
That's
we're
awesome.
setting up so many homes, and you've stayed in a lot of Airbnbs too. What are some things unique that you feel like, all right, we need to have this all the time? maybe it's
Yeah.
something we can give some
Yeah.
pointers on. If you have a couple, I'll think of a couple. I just threw this on you. We didn't plan this at all, but it
Not
just
at all.
made me
Please, I
think.
love it. It's yeah, it's really cool, right? It's like I'm definitely gonna check it out and watch it because again, right? We got that hotel training. We we have our standards, we have our best practices. We know what other people are doing, but to the YouTubers' point, right? They're going to probably places of homeowners that aren't necessarily have don't necessarily have the hotel background, right? So when they add something unique from their perspective or from their vantage point, um, it kind of brings the life to the place, right? So things that we just necessarily would probably, if the idea came about, would probably be like, I don't know about that. But then something, from their vantage point makes it completely and totally unique. So I really, really like that. We've been seeing a lot of unique things that, people are doing with short-term rentals because you have that flexibility, right? Um, but for us, I think what I've seen a lot of, and what we talk about a lot is creating that guest experience and bringing that guest experience back. So I love seeing properties with the little putt putt in the back. I'm a big golfer, right? So that's not a huge one. It's not a kind of a groundbreaking amenity, but I really like those. I've seen a lot now, and especially now when we went to Texas, these like little nests, right? Like the tree house kind of little nest string. We got into one in
Like
Texas
the
as well,
hammocks.
which is
Yeah. Hmm.
little hammocks, which those are really cool. And you're basically again in the trees, kind of unique. So I've been seeing a little bit of that, and then you're just your common, obviously, your pools um, and your cornholes and your little activities and things of that. But I want to watch Brian and what
Yeah.
he's got going on,
It's
so I can
cool.
get a couple of
I'm
ideas.
gonna I'm gonna text it to you. I think you would like it because what I've seen, what they like a lot, and I was like, yeah, it's true. Like it feels kind of nice. Like when there's stuff in the fridge, like things you didn't expect. Like here's a homemade ice cream, not a homemade, but like a local ice cream for you to take a
I
taste
like that.
of. Like some little things, but like they freak out because there's poppy soda in the fridge for them when they get there because they just drove 7 hours, and there's like a snack and soda. And
I
I
love
know
that.
like we have our coffee and wine and tangy snacks
Yeah.
that we put in. So there might be something there. It's a lot of like food stuff, and like the people who do it well also, like one of them was Bison Ranch, which is cool in I think it's Montana or South Dakota. I forget, one of the up north. But they checked in and they had like gear for them. Like here's 2 hats, and they don't know who he is when he's coming, basically. And so that's what they give their guests. Like here's 2 branded hats and
Very
enjoy.
cool. Okay,
Right. So
so a
it could
little
be
like
something to
unique
think of.
touches for the
Yeah.
area.
For the area and like different things that they have. Then there's some that are terrible. And you're like, oh, like you see it. You're like, oh my God, I feel bad that they're showing this to 20
Is
million people. Yeah.
a family scrapbook, like a family
Well, it was like a pyramid that's in the middle of Iowa, right? But it's in a neighborhood. They
right.
just built it as a pyramid, but then you go in, it's like scratch furniture and all messed up. Like, the kitchen's dirty. I was like, oh, like that would not have passed our inspections at all. And now this guy's staying in
Okay.
there, and he shows the listing right before he gets
Okay.
there.
Oh wow. So okay. So he's really going into, and I thought this was more of a the Airbnbs themselves reaching out to him to come out and
Oh
check
no, no,
out their
no.
units.
So it's
Oh wow.
like it's very layered. So listeners, we've gone deep into Ryan Trahan's YouTube channel just because I've been watching it every night for the last 45 days because he puts one out a
Good
day,
plug.
right? And so I was just like, oh, I thought he copied me because I did 50 hotels in 50 days visit with one unique amenity. So I was like, maybe he saw it. But anyhow, yeah, I appreciate it because I know how hard it is to make that, and he's one of the best. So I like watching him. But it made me think. I want to look at maybe us. Maybe we add one more snack or one more thing, especially when people are paying high rates.
Oh yeah.
I think that can go really a unique long way. So if you're listening to this, let us know what you would want. But I think maybe we could find something that's like a cool, unique local treat that somehow
Oh yeah.
doesn't
We got plenty.
we can easily put in.
Cafecitos and croquetas for every guest.
Yeah, but then it goes bad, right? Like we need something that will last. But it was cool. Like there was another one where it was like, if you want homemade fresh cookies, let us know tonight and we'll bring it to you tomorrow, right? It's something. So there's some
I
cool
love
stuff
it.
that some people are doing.
I love it.
Now, maybe not scalable everywhere, but maybe in a handful of places.
Yeah,
So
man. But you're the ideas person, and you've talked to me a ton about the things that you've incorporated into hotels. But what as far as like snacks and things like that, what would be something that you were able to incorporate into a hotel that maybe would be cool at like an Airbnb? I know. I know you've done like,
Yeah, I think if
um,
we could do it in the right homes, like maybe these townhomes that we can talk about, we have a lot of new properties coming. If we get the right rate, right, and we could say it's going to cost $25, right, to give away. My best amenity I ever created, not amenity, but mini bar I ever created, you had to pay for it. But if we can make it free, it was like chocolate from Napa Valley, and then wine from right next door, and then it was like retail items that you could take with you too. So you could buy the hat and the goggles for the pool and something else. So we won an award from Travel and Leisure of best mini bar in the country because we like everything was like perfectly picked. It wasn't like a Snickers bar and
yeah.
Lay's chips, right?
Wow.
Like every single item had a story. And there's still one thing that I want to put in that no one will let me yet is alligator jerky. So like jerky from an alligator tail. I think it was just a cool story. Like I found it and no one will let me use it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I remember you telling me always that you would go around the hotel and you would pick out, like one family and then, kind of either
Oh
upgrade
wow.
them or so I think that'll be a really cool kind of practice to do, right? One family a month and then just go all out for them,
Yep.
and just completely wow them and provide them all of the amenities. So it could be something if anybody's listening as well. It's not something that, every guest and you're breaking the bank for every single one, because I know it's hard to source, especially with short-term rental and everything is just so
Yeah.
spread out if you're not, one specific building. But that'll be a cool little idea as well for us as well in house.
Yeah, I think people like our snacks. I haven't seen any comments about them, so I want to get like a
Oh,
comment like, "Oh, we
they
love
don't
the
need to.
snacks."
They don't need to because they're always empty when we
Yeah,
get back. They're always empty. They got the limoncellos,
and
to obviously
limoncello
go
covered
with that,
almonds, and then the trail mix that we have
and
in
then
our
the trail
Tangy
mix.
branded. So yeah,
Yeah,
so listeners, I work with one of my vendors that I had in hotels, right? And they created us branded mini bar snacks, and we have two right now, but maybe we up it to three in the season as it comes back around.
yeah.
We'll find one more
And we
thing.
always, I think the limoncello was the play on why we always wanted to kind of go the orange route to get, go
Tangy.
through with the brand, but we couldn't obviously, oranges go bad. Then we thought of, like sun dried oranges, but they weren't too tasty or that great. So we just always want to incorporate something orange, and we just couldn't quite like pinpoint exactly what we wanted in there that guests would enjoy, tasty, wouldn't go bad. It always had that play. But yeah, so many ideas.
Yeah, there's so many cool things. There's so many cool things out there, and now I still get to help other hotels with things, so I always see some new stuff coming. So anyhow, that's the good news. So a lot of cool amenities coming up, but I think we should talk about like we have a lot coming up on our plates, and
Yeah,
maybe without giving our whole sales tips away is really like how we started to come in. Like we have I think 8 properties coming in now, like in the next month that we are taking care of with like 2 really premier townhomes that we
oh yeah,
designed from this beginning to scratch. So I think more than anything, why don't we talk about like how we are getting these in, right? Because we've done a
yeah,
lot of changes this year, and maybe for someone who's listening that is having a challenge of getting new properties or is just struggling, what would be how you give your 3 tips and I'll give mine of how
for
we're
sure,
bringing them in
for
and
sure.
then onboarding them.
Yeah, I think the biggest one, for me specifically and for us, is, a lot of these leads or a lot of these connections that we were making, we were kind of going through them beginning to end, right? And it's a lot. It's a lot of information. I'm sure anybody that's watching and has gone through, a whole sales call with a potential lead knows this, right? So I think the biggest one for us is hiring someone specifically for that, right? Like a sales coordinator, sales manager, that can really hone down that position, and then you're basically almost their support, right? So they're able to provide all the information carefully, communicate with them, answer any questions. Really, that person really needs to kind of know what the brand is, what we're all about, all of the services we offer, and then answer some really tough questions, right? Specifically on like taxes and things that people usually like to watch. So that took a ton of kind of that time that is usually spent on that discovery call, right? For us, the way that we have it set up is, this sales manager is able to kind of warm them up, and then basically when they're ready to transition and become a partner of Tangy, that's where either myself or you would step in, and we basically close that deal, right, and bring that person into a partnership with us. So that's been huge for us because again, that discovery phase, takes a lot of time, right? You got to follow up with them. You got to recap emails. You got to
Yep.
send them all the materials that they may need. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. So being able to have that dynamic, is just so much different now, because now, when I'm coming into a call, where you're going into a call, that person's ready to go, right? So that
Hmm.
conversation is so much different. You're excited. You're ready to go. It's not like, oh man, this person potentially might not, team with us. So, you have that kind of factor playing in. But now it's like, all right, so the relationship is so much different, and it just so much more seamless on the customer side, and then also on our side. And then as soon as we close, we get, our onboarding team, which is ready, always ready to go, and then bring that property in, right? So now we can kind of
Get it
turn
going.
those properties much quicker over.
But
So that's
but I want to stop you
been
there
the biggest one.
mid thought
Please.
here, because so that sounds great, Victor. You Tangy's huge, and you guys make so much money. I can't afford a
What if I
sales
don't have one?
coordinator, right? Like I only have 8 properties. I can't afford a sales coordinator to be here in the U.S. What did we do? Because again, listener, right? We try to save as much as we can, be really efficient with every dollar, because this is a business that you have to be looking at every dollar. What is the tip that we can tell them? Maybe not exactly what we did, but how did we make it more cost efficient?
Cost efficient as far as like the hiring
Yeah, like
like the person
we
hiring.
was not hired in the U.S., right? What did we do?
Oh, correct, correct, correct. Yeah. So we did hire someone, out of the country that works remotely. Obviously, in a country in South America, and specifically in Guatemala, where he is both English and Spanish speaking, because obviously we're here headquartered in Miami, where there's English and Spanish speaking. So he could be able to sell to a lot, right? A lot of the clients and investors that are coming into Miami are a lot of from South America. So he could speak, to that. And of course, like to your point, right? Cost efficiency is everything, right? So what we're paying versus if we were to hire, a full time, account manager, sales manager is completely different, right? So that really helped us as far as like the financial component of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. And so for listener, and for if you're watching this, is you got to be creative, especially when you are a small to mid-sized company. Every dollar counts. You need to be efficient with every
Absolutely.
dollar, because you come in waves, right? And you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And it takes a lot of training. It's not just like you hire somebody and say, all right, go sell. Like you have to create
Yeah.
a playbook. Like Victor has spent countless hours making videos, training, making sure the language is our language, right? Like this is the Tangy language. This is how you answer questions. Staying on top of the reports that we see to make sure phone calls are being made to real people, right? Like you've done a lot. And so it does take work. This is not as simple as like, oh, I'm going to hire someone and they're going to make calls, but they're not making any money for us. It really
Oh
takes a
yeah,
lot of time and
it
patience, but
does.
it pays off, because then it allows you to do other things like onboard and deal with the owners that we currently have. And I think we're getting pretty good at onboarding. I feel very confident in it. And now we created a partnership with a furniture company. We're not going to give away the furniture company, but we created a good partnership with that furniture company and created Tangy packages. And it works pretty well, it looks like right now. It was great to see. Like we had to get this, we'll say eight bedrooms and 2 living rooms filled at these 2 giant townhomes that we're now going to be operating. And I
Absolutely.
loved walking in and not seeing our team
It's
doing it like
incredible.
we used to, right? It was 10 people with 2 designers putting everything in, and really at no extra charge to our clients, just because
Yeah,
we're providing enough volume of business that they're willing to do it. So, really good to
absolutely.
see how we're doing
Yeah,
things now.
it's amazing. It makes so much. It makes everything just so much easier for the team, right? Because obviously, like you mentioned, right now, if we were to do everything in house, we're taking away, maintenance people, housekeepers. We're taking team members out of, our day to day operations, which then would hinder, kind of like our processes and everything that we go about to take care of all the other management, all of the other properties. Versus now, it's just kind of like a one stop shop, and it's we've seen it time and time again, right? I think the most difficult part on bringing on a new property is that portion, right? The furnishing portion, especially if the property is sitting there, empty and vacant. So to us, it was, we just had to figure it out, right? What, we went through a couple of, potential ideas that didn't quite pan out, but to your, I'm thankful for you to be able to find that contact, because it's been just a one-stop shop, right? They got the full design, they got the assembly, one thing that people don't ever think about, because we do have owners that are like, oh, I think I could do it myself. And then we always remind them, like, you got the furniture, you buy the furniture, it's great. Now you got to remember that things might go out of stock. You got to remember that things might not get delivered at the same time always. So you got to make sure you're always attentive to when things get delivered. Now you got to assemble this, right? Who's going to assemble this? That's another feat. And then people always forget, after you receive all these packages, after all these furniture comes in, what are you going to do with all that garbage? You can't put it in a green container
Dumpster.
and fill it
Yeah.
all in a dumpster. So what are you going to do with all that trash, right? So all those components that we were able to find a company to help us and kind of just, take over that whole process for us, so we can just basically come back in, say, hey, this property is ready, owner approved, we're ready to go, we approved, and now we're able to, start hosting guests more efficiently. So it's been a big one.
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially opening hotels is that's what you need. You need that partner to really source everything, store everything for you, deliver everything for you, and then you're just like do that final walkthrough. Like, yes, this looks good, this doesn't look good, and you move on. So I'm happy. I think it's actually better than I expected. I don't know
I
how
think
you
so
feel
too.
about it, but I think
I do too.
a couple hiccups here and there at the very, very beginning, but now I think we're on a roll. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
we'll
now,
keep
yeah.
it going.
So I think that was number two. Definitely, we got the good salesperson, we got the great, company helping
Execution of
us
getting
with
it
the
onboarded.
furniture,
So what's
execution
your
of
what's
it.
your final one you think of getting
Yeah,
growth in 8? Like I think it's also I'm gonna throw mine one out. I want to see what you think.
please.
I think it's also having a if you really think about it, we have very little turnover on our team. It's a team that works really hard and we work hard for. And yes, there are some things that happen here and there, but the team really steps up. Like when we need to get things up, they get that property up and running from housekeeping to maintenance to the leadership to our
Full team.
our receptionist team that has to learn all the details on that property because they have to answer all the questions. Like it's very impressive to see how we're all working towards it. Because when you're in it, it can be frustrating as you're going, but in the end, when we have a goal, those properties get open, and
I
I
love
think
that.
we're one of the quickest.
Yeah, I think you're so right. I think you're so right in that. It's. I think to me, one of the hardest parts about managing a property, especially starting from scratch. But yeah, we've done it already so many times that the team feels like almost like a well-oiled machine. Through that process. And you're right, right? We have our Slack channel where we have a whole channel just basically called onboarding, where we're detailing all of the things and all the steps that are going on. And then once the property is ready and staged, we're communicating with everybody in charge of whatever their position is, to ensure that they are informed of what's going on, where we are with the processes, how they need to be able to communicate. And I think the best part of it is our learning, right? I always say we don't make the same mistakes twice, right? So we get to know the property, we learn the property is going to be little details that we're not aware of in the property, regardless of how many times you walk through that property. But we have systems in place, right? That, all right, this happened, the electricity went out in one of the bathrooms. Here's the solution. Now let's document that and have that somewhere, so it were to happen again, we know how to handle it. So to your point, right? It's all a team effort. It's so much communication. It's so many details. People think, oh, you're managing a property. How hard can it be? But wow, there's so much stuff involved, and that's just the onboarding part. Now, we haven't even touched on
I
the
guess.
now we have guests, right? Now we have guests, and now we have the owner, right? That the owner
Yeah,
wants to know kind of what's
what's
going on.
happening?
And a lot of the owners sometimes apply that pressure, right? They want the property um, running tomorrow, right? And the best world, but it's not necessarily like that all the time, right? So that communication with the owner and creating like clear timelines for them and structure for them is also a really big important one.
No, I agree with you. But overall, I'm very happy to see how we're growing. So for listeners out there, if you recap it, if you can't get a salesperson, have a good sales system in place so that it helps you get things onboarded. If it's just you onboarding, try to be creative. Maybe it is a furniture company in your local market that helps you, get these done if you're doing multiple of them, because it really will start to pay off. And then, making sure you can get this thing up and out making money and get connected to the booking channels or to your direct booking customers. So there's so many things we've done this year as I'm looking at it. Like if we just think about our website and the emails that we now send out, we have a whole team doing emails with us and the revenue management
SEO,
we've taken on. And if
revenue
we
management. Yeah.
all of these things that we've done, plus our Google business page. Like, I'm proud of us this year, and we're a little more than halfway through. We've done a lot of things to really enhance what we're doing. So I'm excited to see where we are 1 year from today's Tangy Talks and see how we're doing. Hopefully we'll be doing it from our Baya resort live.
That'll be very cool. We'll take one unit per episode, and we'll do the podcast. That'll be cool.
Yeah, 20 podcasts and 20 units, and we'll go through each one. But man, we flew through here 30 minutes. We covered a lot, and we had no script. I don't know if you could tell today. No script, no bullet points. Always fun to do, but I think we gave a lot of value today. And for listeners, man, if you had a good time listening, I'm sure one of your friends will. So make sure to share this with them, subscribe and like. And you can find us on any streaming channel that you listen to podcasts on, and you can find us at the YouTube channel at Tangy Talks. But anything you want to leave them with, Victor, before we sign off?
Not at all, man. I love these. This always feels like we're having a coffee or a lunch together. These are normal conversations. We're just doing it in front of everyone. So no script, no anything. So it's enjoyable. I always have fun with these.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody, stay hospitable out there.